Hello everyone and welcome to the Lewa Show. I'm here with renowned photographer, Rocky. Hello, Rocky.
G'day, hi.
I apologize, I was in fits of laughter about 5 seconds ago because this renowned photographer here, you know they refer to you as the father of photography in Papua New Guinea. Have you ever heard that?
No.
Well, you are. So it is my great honor to have you join me here on the Lewa Show. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Rocky.
Not a problem. Anytime, almost.
So my first question is, what is your real name? People say you have another name.
My real name is Lawrence Rowe, and I'm born in Adelaide, South Australia in 1947, which is somewhere in the previous millennium. And then I came via the UK to Papua New Guinea in late 76 to work for Bougainville Copper as a fitter, which is my original trade, which is a bit like a mechanic in a factory. And then in 79 I came to Moresby to work as a photographer for an ad agency for half the money, and then I forgot to leave.
Wow, so Rocky came through how? How did you get that name?
Okay, back in the bad old days that your grandparents can tell you about, everyone in Papua New Guinea who could see a movie watched 16mm movies that circuited the country. They went all around. So I was living on a camp on the coast in Bougainville, and 4 times a week we had 16mm movies.
Wow.
So about a week or two before I arrived on Bougainville, the movie that came around one night was the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is about strange country people.
Okay.
So my first day on the job at Bougainville Copper, I had a big argument, just a mild one, with my co-worker and the boss about how to fix something which was particularly grubby and horrible. And in the end I said, I've got 10 hours to do it in, go away, I will get the job done properly, and it won't break down for the next couple of years. And they walked away, and apparently one said to the other one, he's as bad as that Rocky Horror Picture Show. So they called me Rocky Horror, which within a few months got shortened to Rocky. Now this is before the Rocky movies were created.
Yeah, I was thinking, is there a connection there?
No, there's no relation. I'm no good at fighting or anything like that. So by the time I left Bougainville Copper 2 years and 4 months later, everyone knew me as Rocky.
And it's just stuck since then?
And it's stuck ever since, yes.
So should I be calling you Rocky or Lawrence?
Whatever you like.
We'll stick to Rocky.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we will take a short break because I need to just get acquainted with these questions. You've made me laugh too much that I've forgotten what I need to ask you. You're watching the Lewa Show. We're coming to you from the HAUS in Port Moresby, and I've got Rocky Rowe here with me, renowned photographer in Papua New Guinea. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Lewa Show. You're here with me and Rocky at the HAUS. Oh, Rocky, it's so good to have you on set. Are you ready for my questions?
Yep.
And you are ready, I can see. Now, your experience as a photographer.
Okay. When I started off in photography, digital was only being invented by Kodak in America. Secret squirrel stuff, no one knew anything about it, was just space age, nothing. So we all shot film. Here's an example of what we shot. It was slide film or transparency, we called it. This is not very good. So the skinny one here is 35mm film, which is what went into cameras that look just like the modern digital DSLR cameras. And the big film closest to my finger here is medium format film, and that's what we did the bulk of our commercial work with here in the old days. Wow. 10 shots to a roll. So it's kind of expensive, and we'd do especially with a studio set up with flashes, we would do a Polaroid first to check the exposure and composition. Everyone would peer at it a couple of minutes after we shot it and change things and do another one. Then we'd shoot the real film. So that was film. Right, so I'll tell you about the saga of the first time I photographed Samari.
Oh, yes.
So I had a man in the dark room, and So they made an appointment, and Samaria was coming to the little studio we had in Barocco. And when he arrived, my darkroom guy went and locked himself in the darkroom and wouldn't come out. So I had to let Samaria in. I spent an hour photographing him, doing Polaroids films, changing angles, shifting flashes around the place and stuff. And about 10 minutes after Samaria left, my assistant then unlocked the darkroom door and came out.
And his reason was?
It was a big man, might vaporize or something, who knows?
Didn't want to be in the presence?
No, didn't want to be in his presence. He was terrified.
Wow.
And Samaria's the nicest guy you could ever meet. Yeah.
So did you photograph him like as a portrait picture, or was that?
Yeah, it was a portrait. Yeah. I photographed him many times,
wow.
portraits over the years, yes.
So in your experience, and we'll go through these things here, how has it changed drastically for you, given the change in technology?
Okay, well, with modern digital, first of all, we have autofocus, which makes life so much easier. In the old days, half the world couldn't focus their camera, now they can. Secondly, we have auto exposure, which is pretty good, and if you shoot raw, then you can be quite a bit out with your exposure and you can rescue it. So it's very good. And the fourth thing is the color. So we could take a photograph here on the slide film in the old days and everything would be a funny color, and it's not really correctable. We had no digital then. With modern digital, you can correct the color by miles. So it's digital's completely revolutionized it. In the film days, especially with positive film, slide film for reproduction, very hard to get it right. These days with digital, it's very easy.
So was there much adaptation for you as a photographer in terms of changing your equipment?
It just costs money. But the cameras still look the same. They're just full of electronics instead of film now. They still wear out, they still break down. The lenses are basically the same. It's not a huge change.
So what have you got here?
Right. This is on the larger film camera. This is one I was quite proud of. This was the Bougainville Development Corporation annual report of 1982. I actually shot that in a room at night time. I lit the lady and the little Mortlock sailing boat up with flashes, and I had no flash on the background, and the background came out black. There was no digital then. We couldn't go, oh, let's cut that bit out and make it black, green, put stripes in, add the sunset or something.
Edit it, yeah.
Yeah, that was just done like that. So I was quite proud of that shot. On the back cover, we have one done in bright sunshine in the middle of the day at the limestone mine, and that was 3 landowners with a lump of limestone, I think. Yeah, with a lump of against the white shirt, you can't see it. But because they're so black, I used a flash on full power on the camera to brighten their faces up so we could actually see them.
Wow.
So that was a bit tricky to do. And inside we had a double centerfold. This is really big. So
very fancy.
That was lots of pictures stuck together. So we did stuff like that.
Wow. So that's all your work?
And that was all printed in, I think, Hong Kong or something, and couldn't get separations done here, no digital then, and all those sorts of things.
But you took all those photos, that's your work?
I took all those pictures, and there's more in there as well.
Wow.
So right, now we go on to normal stuff. This is 1987, so this is Papua New Guinea Banking Corporation's annual report, which is now mostly BSP. I didn't do the design, the layout, but that's
your
pictures there. That was a desk with a whole lot of thingies on it that someone put on there for me to photograph.
Very nice.
And that was all done with flash. That would have taken an hour to do that picture. These days take 10 minutes.
Wow.
But that was in the film era. And there's lots of other pictures inside, but they're all sort of... There's an aerial shot of Moresby. Used to do that quite regularly. Go up in a helicopter. No drones then, only helicopters.
No drones. That was a special one for Andy, was it? Our director?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And we have competing drones.
Okay.
Anyway, so, and I was up there and I get 10 shots to roll. I probably did half a dozen different places while I was up there. And I have someone in the helicopter reloading film magazines for me, because I only got 10 shots to roll.
Oh.
So we go, once we got in the right position, we go flat out, click, 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 telling the helicopter to go left, right, up, down, sideways, whatever. And so this is a modern annual report. This is BSP's current annual report.
Wow.
That's a combination of 3 shots on the cover that their graphic artists put together.
And that's the APEC House.
Yep. That's this building and two of their staff members in traditional dress.
Wow.
And inside we have a shot I did with a drone one evening.
Wow. At night time?
At night, yes. And I did probably a dozen shots from that position. I would have moved to several different positions over 15 minutes and done a heap of shots, and they chose that one.
That's beautiful.
So that one I'm quite happy with.
Stunning, stunning picture. Fantastic.
And here we have something completely different, all digital. This is a book. It was put together by Glenn Armstrong. Justin Tachenko funded 3 trips to Bensback. He likes fishing and collecting orchids, and I went along for the ride each time. Your producer went as well on one of the trips.
Oh, lucky.
And we did lots of pictures of...
Oh, look at that one.
It's some politician. Where are we?
Some politician.
There's a happy smiling book.
Oh.
Yeah. And there's lots of bird shots
So much
in there.
detail in that shot.
Yes, well, it was done with good quality cameras. Okay,
Wow.
here's a fish that's decided to swallow a lure.
Wow.
You can see that with my fingers in the way.
All the anglers will be happy
So
with
for that
one.
you do 200 or 300 shots of fish on the ends of lures jumping up and down, and occasionally you get a good one. That's modern digital. You can never afford to do that in the film days unless you work for the National Geographic or Life magazine. Right. Here's one of Justin Tachenko with a fish on the end of the line. It was the best shot I ever did of a fish on the end of the line.
Wow.
Just the moment it was up in the air,
That is an amazing shot.
I got very lucky to get that. And here we have a shot done by someone else of me with some birds in the background.
Wow. Very pretty.
That's it, yep. Well, that's the end of the show and tell bit.
Amazing work, Rocky. Got more questions, much to your disappointment.
Yes.
I'll let you have a little break.
Thank you.
You're watching The Lewa Show. We'll be right back. Hello everyone, welcome back to The Lewa Show. Rocky and I are here at the APEC House in Port Moresby, and I am talking to Rocky today about his amazing career in photography. Yes, amazing. Don't try to play it down. Are you more of an object photographer or a people's photographer or a landscape photographer?
Everything. I like variety.
Let's see. So you don't really have like a preference?
No.
Okay. Do you have a job that you hold dear to your heart that you've done? One of your favorites?
The book I just showed you.
Rocky, you've photographed many reputable people, the likes of prime ministers. Can you name a few?
All the prime ministers.
Of Papua New Guinea?
Yes, and a few visiting ones. I've done a couple of visiting Japanese prime ministers, one Indonesian, many. All the Aussie ones since Bob Hawke, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Now you were talking about the book you showed us.
Yes.
You said you were passionate about it. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Well, it was so different. I was there photographing wildlife and stuff and nature. Usually I'm here, photograph the coffee this way, photograph the oil palm, how we cut the grass around it, then we put the fertiliser on it, do pictures of each stage and stuff. This was like freestyle, do what you want. It was great.
I love it.
And it wasn't like, here we have an orchid, photograph it from this angle here. I did whatever I wanted. It was great. It was good.
Okay, and what about places? Places that you've been to photograph?
All of PNG is really interesting.
I was going to say, do you
The
have a
worst
favorite?
place is East New Britain when the volcanic ash is falling down, because it's just grit and it makes a mess of all the cameras and everything else in your life at the time. But otherwise, no, everywhere's nice, yeah.
You don't have one that you remember or that's your favorite?
I remember most of them. It's really nice.
You don't want to
everywhere.
pick one, do you?
I like the variety.
Yes.
Like, you know, a couple of weeks ago, BSP had me up in the Highlands and we went to Chimbu and ladies were selling bunches of grapes this big, they tie together for 5 kina a bunch. So not only photographed them, we then stuffed ourselves eating them. It was wonderful.
Can't find that in Port Moresby.
No, we all dream. Yes.
No, that's a luxury to have it at the table.
Yes.
There's so many photographers up and coming that I've seen, you know, that are taking this as not only a hobby, they're trying to make it a career.
Yes.
What would be your advice to them?
It's a lot more expensive than you think. The cameras do break down. The lenses have problems. You have to send them away. My average for sending stuff away for repair is up to 6 weeks before you get it back again. Wow. You just think you sent it down and 10 days later it's back here. 19 times out of 20 that does not happen. You have to have backups for everything. It's quite expensive. It's difficult.
So, having said that, would you have done anything differently in this career you've taken as a photographer?
I could have gone back to the mining industry.
That would have been not as exciting as this.
No.
So nothing differently?
No.
Now in terms of the technology, what about photographers who really want to learn the art of those manual cameras? Are they still around? Are they still being used? Because I wouldn't have a clue.
A film camera you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. They're still around. But every time you go click, it costs a lot more money. You're paying for film and processing. With your digital, not only do you get within a second, you've got a picture on the back of the camera to show you what you just shot, which I use all the time, like, ooh, I got that wrong, you know, let's make it darker, lighter, change the composition, whatever. It's different. But the fact that you can see what you've got straight away, makes life so much easier and rewarding. Like, I used to write down on bits of paper what I was doing, and then 2 weeks later when the slide film came back, I'd go, oh, the fourth one, right. I shouldn't have done that, I should have done this, you know. So it was slow learning in those days. These days it's instant. It makes life a lot easier.
So you would encourage the photographers to
try different things.
Try
different things.
All right. Well, thank you, Rocky. I've got 2 more questions, but we'll have a little break. You're watching The Lewa Show. We're coming to you from the APEC House in Port Moresby. Hello everyone and welcome back to The Lewa Show. I've still got Rocky here with me at the APEC House in Port Moresby. Now, why do you have a 50 kina note with you?
Because your producer gave it to me, but I think she wants it back again afterwards. If you can zoom in on Samari's picture here.
Okay.
I'll tell you the saga about that picture.
Did you take that picture?
Yes. Many years ago,
Wow.
I was in Parliament House taking photographs in the old film era for a book on Parliament. And I was up a ladder photographing the wire mural on the wall above the B block entrance where the members go in and out. And I heard a voice, a familiar voice, "Rocky, what are you doing up that ladder?" And I turned around and there was Sir Michael Samari. So I came down and we had a chat for a while, and I explained to him I was taking the pictures with this book on Parliament and stuff. And Sir Michael started chatting away to me for 5 minutes, and then he said, "Rocky, have you noticed we have a 50 kina banknote now?" "Yes, sir, I've spent a couple since I've come out, yes." And he said, "You notice there's a portrait of me in it?" I said, "Yes, there is, yes." He says, "Did you know you took that picture?" And I said, was that something I took? And I mentioned a certain time that I took his picture in that year, and he said, "Yes, it was." I said, "Oh, okay." And then we chatted for a while long, and he says, "I have to go now, I have a meeting, they're waiting for me. And by the way, it's not one of your better portraits." So he walked away and I thought, oh, got it wrong, have I?
But it's on the 50 kina note.
Yeah, it's on the 50 kina note. So anyway, a couple of weeks later, I bumped into one of his children, and I was telling her the story, and she starts roaring and laughing and said, "Rocky, he's winding you up as usual. He loves it."
It is a very nice portrait of Sir Michael Samari. Do you want to hold it up one more time for our viewers to see? So you took that photo and they've just taken it and put it on the 50 kina note. Fantastic.
And no, I don't get paid every time you spend the money, unfortunately.
Calling off royalties,
are you?
It would
be nice. but I don't, nor does he.
That's why they call you the father of photography in this country, Rocky.
There was a lot of photographers here when I arrived. I'm just the last one of the old guard.
Well, we're a fan of your work, so thank you. Any final words before we go?
Keep taking lots of pictures.
Selfies?
Yeah, I do them sometimes.
Yeah, do you? You have
I have a cheap
favorite angle?
smartphone.
Do you have a favorite angle?
I'm not good at selfies.
Oh.
I photograph family, friends, situations, everything. Yeah.
We will have links to Rocky's work here. You can find them here. You've got a Facebook page, don't you?
I have, it's rubbish. I got a website, just put in Rocky Rowe.
Rocky Rowe, Google Rocky Rowe. We'll have his name here to see more of his work. And if you would like to engage Rocky, you can send him an email and he'll be happy to help.
There is an American baseball umpire with the same name. His is probably more famous than mine because American baseball umpires are really famous, but I come second.
Oh, there you go. Do find out more about Rocky's work. He's an amazing photographer, renowned in Papua New Guinea. We are so, so, so grateful for your time here with us on the show.
Thank you, Lewa.
And I look forward to working with you in the future with more photography.
Do you? Oh.
Yes. You're watching the Lewa Show. That has been an edition with Rocky where we talked about photography. If you want to know more, like I said, do follow him on Facebook and have a look at some of his work. Thank you so much to our host venue today, Epic House in Port Moresby. We will see you again next time on the Lewa Show.
And here's 50 for you.
Am I giving it back to our producer?
It's
Probably
up to
not.
you too. Up to you too.
Thank you. Cheers, Rocky.